Nothing like a little dance party.
I think so.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our dance party. We're just
Yeah.
rocking out behind the music there. And welcome to Inside AWAI, Real Copywriters, Real Strategies, Real Success. I am thrilled to be here today with Robert Rice. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Katie. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited for you to be here as well. For those of you who don't know Robert's story, you're in for a treat, and it's been quite the journey over how many years now? 10?
I started with I think I started with AWAI in 2012.
Okay, so a little bit more than 10 years. And let's start with what you're doing now, and then we're going to back into
work backwards.
The ups and downs and trials and tribulations and successes along the way.
Yeah. So I live in Los Angeles, California. I work in the entertainment business, and as far as copywriting is concerned, copywriting is my sort of through line work is what I call it. It's like not even survival work at this time, because like it's more than that. It's like, but it's the sort of the thing that I have that is consistent, that keeps me going and like keeps me gainfully employed through the ups and downs of the entertainment business. And so that's where I am. Although I'm currently in Palm Springs, California with my in-laws. It's actually beautiful out here. If you've never been. But yeah.
And so, and when you say entertainment, you're an actor,
actor,
writer.
So as far as the entertainment world is concerned, I'm an actor and a producer. I also sing with a barbershop quartet, and we do stuff all over the place. I think you guys saw the commercial we did a number of years ago.
Yes, for Allstate, right? Or State Farm?
Geico.
Oh.
Geico.
Oh, I got my insurance companies mixed up.
You got the insurance, yeah.
That was so fun.
But we've done other stuff since then. Like we did a lot of things, but yeah. So that like I have a bunch of different performing arts things that I do, but chiefly I'm an actor for film, television, commercial, and then also produce now TV.
Yeah, we will get into that.
Which we'll get into later.
And so let's go back to being a struggling actor that hadn't experienced copywriting, that hadn't found copywriting yet. What's the difference between now and then? A, you're not a struggling actor anymore, and B, you are a successful copywriter.
Yeah. So yeah, when I found copywriting and AWAI, like I was doing the very sort of stereotypical actor's journey. At that time, I was living in New York, and I was more so doing theater, but I had the sort of multiple part-time jobs, which I didn't mind having, but it's like you have all these different jobs and you have to be in different places all over the city at different times for not very much pay. And whenever I would actually be lucky enough to book an acting job and usually have to leave the city to do it in another state or city.
Right.
And then I'd have to give up all those jobs, put in my notice, go away, do the thing, come back, and then find new work. And I remember having a conversation at the time. I was in my mid-20s. And I remember having a conversation with an older actor who's like, the hardest part of this business is sticking it out, because it can be so draining, all of this other stuff.
Right.
And that really stuck with me. Yeah. And I was like, he's like, if you can stick it out, you can have a real career, but you have to stick it out. And that's the hard part. And so that was around when I heard about copywriting for the first time and started looking into it, found you, and the rest is history.
Wow. So what type of projects are you working on right now? Like, what's your client portfolio look like? How do you sustain that work while you're doing your other work?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, a majority of my work at this stage, because I do more of my focus is now, because I'm able to put more of my focus into entertainment now, which is a blessing, because that's, was the whole goal. But I still have repeat work. Like I still write for Mindy,
With the Barefoot Writer.
I do some social media for a few businesses. And then I also, for a really long stint, did some UX copywriting, which was something that was also a word of mouth referral. Like, again, at this point, like I've done a lot of work with different people, and most of my client work is with people I've already worked with, but on occasion somebody will say, hey, like, there's a new person looking and we'll talk. And if it works out,
Right.
and then I'll, write for them.
Fantastic. And with your existing clients, is it typically them saying, "Oh, can you do this as well?" Or are you saying, "Hey, have you thought about this as well?" How does that,
A
what's the
mix.
balance there? A mix.
There's a mix. I mean, it depends on how busy I am on the other side of things.
Sure. Right.
Because if I'm like, I feel like things are quiet, like when we were on strike, because there was a huge writer union, actor union
Yeah.
strike. I think it was 2 years ago now. And so during that time, I was spending a lot of emails to
Yes.
clients, current and former, saying, "Hey, I had this idea." Or,
Right. Right. Which
"Hey,
clients
how's it?"
always love.
I mean, they do, and I got work from that, when I really needed it the most. So that's also been, like, for me, one of the greatest elements of copywriting is, like, when I need the work, I can find it,
That's
you
huge.
know?
That's what a level of security, what a level of confidence, all of that is such a snapshot of what the writer's life can mean for people
Yeah.
that are pursuing something else and using, if it's, a writing career, any kind of career, but
Mhm,
use this as the, like you said, the through line for
mhm,
money and stability.
mhm.
What's been a recent win in your writing world, that your writing career, that you've been excited about?
Yeah, trying to think, like, uh, I mean, I don't know if this sounds as, like, a specific win for me, but, like, when I have a client say that they're really happy to keep hiring me instead of just using AI.
I
That
think
feels like
that's a win, and I'd
that
say
feels like a huge win.
that's a smart client, because they know that,
Yeah, because
you are
right.
going to get the job done way better and with more heart and soul and connection and all the things. What's been your experience working with AI? Do you use it as a tool? Do you
Yes.
work, um as far as with your clients,
Mhm.
what's the whole AI vibe and conversation? What's your experience of how it is right now?
So, actually, I think I may have shared this, maybe to Rebecca at one point a couple of years ago, but I had this long running job, and actually, I should probably have mentioned this, but I had this long running gig for a large tech company, which name I cannot say, but you tend to search for things on their
Got it.
platform,
Got
and we'll
it.
just put it that way. And it was like a very unusual but interesting gig that for a long time that I found through the internet,
Uh-huh.
when I first moved to Los Angeles. So this is like almost 10 years ago, and I remember we worked and worked and worked and worked on and off, on and off, on and off for that with that job. And then there was one gig we had where we were training AI. And then all of a sudden there was no more work. And I'm like, oh no, I trained myself out of a job. Um, but then
But
about a
then
year, yeah, a year later, I got an email and they're like, hey, we're coming back.
that's
And I think,
so true, and
yeah,
I love that you experienced that, and I hope
yeah.
your rates were higher when you get went back.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was interesting because I will say there was that panic of like, "Oh my god, I literally trained myself out of a job. Is this just gonna keep happening?" But I remember hearing you guys talk about this, but, and sort of writers at large talking about it, like, this is just like people are just jumping on a moment and they're thinking like this is the
Exactly.
solution to all the problems, but we all know that that's not how things work. And now it's more of an integration. So
Yes.
like there is still a tool that they encourage us to use. It's like their own proprietary thing, and we use it for pieces of the work, but not the entire
Right.
process.
Makes sense.
And they
Yeah.
still need us to make
Yes.
sure it sounds like a human and not, you know,
Fantastic.
just a robot.
How did you get your very first client, going way
Oh,
back?
yeah. I know your site is called Writers Wanted now, but
Yes.
back in the day it was called
Yes.
directresponsejobs.com.
Right.
And I used that. So I remember I had the restaurant letter, that was my sample,
Okay.
and I used that with a whole bunch of different submissions. And then the one that I got was a third-party seller on Amazon who was selling like food items. Like he was selling like spices and like
Mhm.
sauces and stuff like that through Amazon, and he needed somebody to write descriptions, basically write like
Yeah.
catchy, like sellable descriptions for all the products. So he actually sent me like little like spice packets and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's
It's kind of
cool.
was the Glicken as we used to call it. I don't know if you still use that term. And I was like, oh, I have all these fun spices now. But yeah, yeah, that was my first gig and I did that for a few months. It was really fun actually.
Yeah.
And then that boosted my confidence to really
Got
like
you that first
go
paycheck. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So again, you've seen changes in the industry. You've
yeah,
had ups and downs. You've been able to make the writing life work for your real life,
yeah.
your plans life, your goal life. What advice do you have for fellow writers in this day and this time? Let's just say if they're just getting started, and then I'm going
Yeah.
to ask you for ones that have been in the game for a little bit. But for writers that are just getting started,
Yeah.
what do you wish Robert had known back then?
Well, I think the thing that if I could talk to myself back then, I would say trust the process, like trust like that the effort, the energy and the effort and the that you're putting into learning this skill is going to pay off. And I know that sounds like easy to say from the other side of it, but it's like if there's one thing that I've learned in doing this for so long, and I think I mentioned this in the bootcamp panel, but by studying copywriting, you know more than most people about copywriting. So, like, we all have imposter syndrome. I deal with it all the time in pretty much every area of my life. But one thing I can I can always remind myself is like I've learned this skill. I've honed this skill. And most people have not taken the time to do that because it's just not part of what their day-to-day jobs are or whatever.
Right.
So when you're pitching yourself or you're pitching an idea or you're working on this, like you are knowledgeable. You know more than they
Yes.
do, and that's all you need to know.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And it
Um,
reminds me of the advice that you got is, if you can get through the hard part, it's there,
yeah,
it's doable, and all that stuff. But
yeah.
it's just making that jump. And I think so much comes from getting that very first paycheck, which
Yes. That
yeah,
is I think that's where a lot of the confidence will stem from, but even before that, like, because I haven't obviously taken the course since 2012, but, like, I'm sure you still have, like, practical samples that they're working
oh
on,
yeah,
and, like, you a writing sample is a writing sample is a writing sample. It does not matter
right,
if it's something that is published or has been used or has been, whatever,
yeah,
like, it's a sample.
yeah,
So that counts.
yes,
Um, and if you can wrap your mind and your heart around that, like you can put yourself out there, you can get work. And that because that honestly I think is the hard part is believing enough in your skills and like what you bring to actually put it in front of somebody.
right. And again,
That
that
can be scary.
goes back to trusting the process.
Trusting the process.
W what advice do you have for writers that are further along in their career? If you were having some coffee or a beer
Hmm.
with a fellow writer, what do you guys think you'd be talking about?
I think I mean, we've already talked about the AI thing, so I mean, I would mention that if that was a concern, if that was something
Yeah.
that they're really stressed about, because I think a lot of people are stressed about that. I mean, I don't know if you happen to hear this, but even in the entertainment industry, there's like been this
Yeah.
huge splash with like the AI actress that like
Right.
may get signed by a major agency, or it's like, oh my god, we're gonna lose our jobs. I'm like, no, we're
Yeah. No, no.
not. But so that would definitely be one thing. I think the other thing I would say is because of AI and because of this sort of rush towards like automation and robotics and all that stuff, there is such a hunger for authenticity and
Yes.
like embracing yourself and embracing what you bring to the table as a writer, what your
I
voice is.
love
And now
that.
I realize copy has there's a formula and a science to it, but there is still a beating heart to
Yes.
it. Um, and you're only a human is going to bring that, and you and we're going to bring a different feel to that as well, like, because we're different people. And
Right.
like there is something to that that is special, and you're going to find people who like the way you speak and write
Yeah.
and find those people, and that's all that matters. The
Yes.
rest can fall away.
Yeah, I love that.
Um,
And, I always go back to the value that you're bringing. The
yeah,
value that you're bringing is, it can't be replaced by anything. And it's something that it's a hole in the company that they need filled.
yep.
And I just always try to instill that in writers at any level, is like, don't
Hmm.
ever underestimate the value of the problem that you're helping to solve.
No,
That's
it's
huge.
paramount.
Paramount. All right. So I know the answer to this question, but I have questions. So I want to
Yeah, we'll talk about
bring
it.
this up. Is what is something that you're excited about in your life right now, either in your career or outside? And this
Yes.
is super cool.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, thank you, Katie. Yeah, so I'm really excited to share that, my husband and I, we're like a filmmaking team, and we sold and shot our first TV series,
Which is so
um,
exciting.
which is insane. And I'm excited because, like, it's also kind of, I feel like it's evidence of what I said earlier, where it's kinda like if you if you keep to your authentic self and you keep to your, like, what you're passionate about and your voice and your point of view and stuff, like, you will attract things to you, because that's what
Right.
people are desperate for. I think they want to see people who are being themselves and bringing their own, I don't know, just energy to the table.
Yes.
And so, like, we have our, it's a murder mystery, which is something we've seen
Perfect.
a million times, but it's our spin on it, and we're really excited. And if you had told me when I first started AWI, let alone when I was a teenager, that I would have sold a television show that my husband wrote and like and I'm acting in, and like it's crazy, like, and to a Canadian streamer, no less, like it's a Canadian company that bought it, and it'll play on actual TV, like broadcast in Canada, but it'll also be on a streaming platform. You can get it anywhere,
When will
and
it
it's
be
just
available? What
uh,
details can you tell us? Does
so
it have
I
a
don't have.
title yet?
It does. It's called Laid Bare, like all our secrets are laid bare.
Laid Bare.
And it also takes place at like a resort. So there's like pool
Perfect.
and like summery. So
Yes.
it's like a little bit of a double entendre. But and it'll come out next year. I don't have an exact date
Okay.
yet. But we're hoping first quarter next year. That's the hope.
Okay.
We're
Well,
finishing it right now. So the post production. So
so fun. Well, you let us know and we will
I will.
get the word out among
Oh,
the AWAI members. Robert, it's been just such a joy to have known you all these years and to see the success that you're having now. And the thing, I love that you brought up the word authentic, because you have always come forward with your authentic self, which is so generous and smart and engaging and curious, and just all the things that make such a great writer and a great human. So I really want to thank
thank you.
you for your time today. And
Thank you.
I just wish you so much continued success.
Oh, well, thank you. I so appreciate you and the whole AWAI team. Like you've really changed my life. And I owe you everything. So
Well, just, when you're accepting your
yeah,
Emmy, you
I'll be
might
like,
want to
thank you too. Yeah.
you just throw a little AWAI in there or something.
I bet
No
you know
pressure.
what? Yeah.
No,
I'll add it
no.
to the speech.
All right, Robert. Well, thank you again.
Thank
And
you.
everybody, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.